My, how times have changed. 4 years ago, from this stage, we announced the formation of the Apollo Alliance. 4 years ago, our proposition seemed to be outrageous, but today it sounds like common sense. 4 years ago, people thought protecting the environment meant losing jobs. 4 years later, people know protecting the environment means creating jobs. Thank you. Back then, Congress was awarding big oil giveaways. Today, Congress is taking those giveaways back. Then, the majority in Congress was debating whether or not global warming was real. Now the majority in Congress set up a select committee to figure out how to stop it. Just 4 years ago, only Democrats called for an Apollo project for energy independence. And now 4 years later, not only have all the Democrats, but 2 Republicans as well. But most importantly, in 2003, all of us here were just starting on a march for change. In 2007, today, we are well on our way. But we're not there yet. And as we know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. In 2003, we had just entered a war. And today, we are still in one with no end in sight. Back then, gas prices were reaching record highs. Last month, gas prices reached their highest ever. 2 years ago, New Orleans was recovering from Category 4 hurricane. 2 years later, they still are. 4 years ago, we were faced with an administration that was not willing to do what it takes to meet the challenges facing our nation. 4 years later, they still aren't. And while we have made progress, we still have a lot of work to do. But the good news is that a lot have worked and a lot of work has been done. Leaders around the country have not been waiting to see what Washington will do. They have created the models and real-world successes that are creating the blueprint for change. Shortly after our national launch, the members of New York City Apollo Alliance drafted a 10-point plan of their own that, if adopted, would create jobs. It would lower energy use and reduce greenhouse gas emissions and make New York City the city of the future. Last month, the Office of the Mayor integrated all 10 of these points into the city's new strategic energy plan, and then some. Last summer, the Los Angeles Apollo Alliance gathered 400 residents of South Central LA for a town hall meeting to demand that the city retrofit its public buildings, lowering energy use, improving the environment, and most importantly, creating good jobs in places that needed them the most. The city took that challenge, and today they are creating jobs, performing audits of the buildings in preparation for doing the renovations that will set their economy on a new footing. In 2005, the Washington State Apollo Alliance helped bring labor support to the passage of the Renewable Fuel Standard, which guaranteed a market of biofuels of all varieties. And this year, union workers in that state built North America's largest biodiesel refinery in eastern Washington. Now they're not only able to import less oil, but they are exporting fuels to other countries. But these leaders have not been content to act locally without acting nationally. Last week, an amendment sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Hillary Clinton was adopted as part of the energy bill being debated on the floor of the Senate that will create $100 million fund to prepare workers to succeed in green-collar jobs. That bill did not come from inside the Beltway, but from leaders across the country who are speaking at this conference who found a welcome embrace from leaders in Congress. But I cannot stress enough that this is just the beginning. So now let's talk about the future. In 10 years, I want to be able to stand up before you and say that we have transformed this nation. In 10 years, I want to be able to say that clean economy of the future is the clean economy of the present. I want to be able to say that millions of people are working in jobs that sustain families and the planet. I want to be able to say to you that we faced the danger of global warming and turned it into an opportunity. I want to be able to say that we created the examples back then that are standards today. In 10 years, I want to be able to say to you that the federal government made an investment like the one they took when we put man on the moon to tackle the problems of planet Earth. And most of all, in 10 years, I especially want to say that we got there because we all came together to challenge ourselves, to challenge our leaders, and they took the challenge and made our world a better place. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.